In today's video, we're going to make a pumpkin pie, and just in time for Thanksgiving. I'm going to split the video up into two parts, first making the pie crust and then making the filling. So if you've already made a pie before, you can skip ahead to the filling portion. But if this is your first time making a pumpkin pie, the first thing to do is to set your oven to 425 degrees Fahrenheit. So for the pie shell, you'll need 1.5 cups of flour, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 1/2 cup of shortening, and 3 to 4 tablespoons of cold water. First, we'll add the flour and salt together. Next, we'll add in the shortening with a pastry blender. Once the dough looks something like this, we'll add a tablespoon of cold ice water. And use that water to make the flour stick together. We'll add another tablespoon of cold water. Starting to stick. 3 might be enough. We'll find out here in a second. Alright, the dough is holding together pretty well. We'll leave it there, don't want to overwork the dough. So I'll transfer this to another pan and then get started on the filling. Once the pie crust is put away, go ahead and grab another bowl. If you don't have another bowl, go ahead and wash out the one that you were using, and you can use it again like I am today. So for the pumpkin pie filling, you will need 1 cup of sugar, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 1.5 teaspoons of cinnamon, 1/2 teaspoon of ground cloves, 1/2 teaspoon of ginger, 1.5 cups of pumpkin puree, 1.5 cups of evaporated milk, 1/2 cup of milk. Now let's mix those all together. Now that the filling is together, let's put that aside and resume where we left off with the pie crust. For the pie crust, if you have a clean space to roll it out, go ahead and use it. If not, I like to use a baking mat. It's a nice space. First things first, put some flour on your baking mat. Next we'll take the pie crust and start to spread it out. As you spread out your pie crust, you can periodically check if it's the right size. A simple way to do that is to take a pie pan, hold it over the crust. When it's the right size, it should be a little bit larger than the circumference of your pie pan. That way there's enough space to fold into the pie pan itself. Once the pie crust is the right shape, go ahead and transfer it into your pie pan. Now that we have the crust in our pie pan, let's add that filling. All that's left for this pie is to go into the oven. First, you want to cook it at 425 for 10 minutes, then lower the temperature to 300 degrees and cook for another 45 minutes. So I put the pumpkin pie in for a total of 55 minutes, but it was still not firm, and that's the main goal of this cooking phase. So if your pie is also not firm, put it in for an extra several minutes. I chose 25, and that turned out to be just about right, bringing the total time up to an hour and 20 minutes. Here's the final pie. We'll let that set, and then it'll be ready to eat. With that said, that's the end of the video. If you liked it, please give it a big thumbs up and subscribe down below, and I'll see you in the next video.